13th of March 2013, a violent EF4 tornado marches across a field to the west of the town of Mulwala. As his friend Tom drives, Daniel Clark records. At around 20 seconds, the tornado impacts a grove of trees, spewing debris into the sky. At 40 seconds, the tornado directly impacts a home. Whilst damage done to the home is unknown, high-end EF3 to low-end EF4 damage was likely done. This tornado carved a 60-kilometre long path of destruction from the town of Kunamu to Bundalong. The worst bit? This EF4, along with 6 other tornadoes that occurred this day, were all completely unwarned. More than anything, this event should highlight the failure of the severe thunderstorm and tornado warning system in Australia and make it clear that it needs to go through some very serious changes. When taken at face value, Australia seems to have far less tornadoes than places like the USA. Whilst this is true, it doesn't capture the true issue. For example, let's zoom into southeast Queensland. In 2025, they saw 6 confirmed tornadoes, one of which was likely EF3 plus strength, all in the Sunshine Coast area, excluding Kyleakilwin. Further, this area of the country has a strong history of tornadoes, some notable examples being the F3 in Brisbane in 1973 and the Kin Kin tornado in 1970 that killed 3. Central West New South Wales also saw at least 5, one of which had a path over 30 kilometres long, completely unwarned. Tornadoes in Australia, whilst yes, are generally weaker than the USA, do have the potential to be violent. Examples include the Bulahdelah F4/F5 in 1970, the Bucca F4 in 1992, and the Mulwala F3/EF4 in 2013. On top of this, tornadoes have been observed in recent years tracking through densely populated areas such as Armidale and Brisbane Airport in 2021, Brisbane River and Bunbury in 2024, Werribee in 2025, and Hornsby in 2014. It is a case of when, not if, a strong EF3 plus tornado finds itself tracking into and through a major town or city, endangering lives and destroying homes and businesses. By improving the warning systems for storms and tornadoes, these impacts had on the communities can be significantly minimised. Just in the past few months, the world got a wake-up call when a dubiously warned EF4 wedge tornado caused catastrophic damage to the town of Rio Bonito de Iguaçu in Brazil, killing 5 people. This serves as an ominous example of what could potentially happen here in Australia if we don't improve our warning systems. The way that the Bureau of Meteorology currently warns tornadoes is not great. Further, storm warnings in themselves, while satisfactory, could do with work. Firstly, the day of or the day before a widespread storm system is predicted, the Bureau of Meteorology will put out a storm forecast. This shows areas in green where storms are possible, in yellow where severe thunderstorms are possible, and areas in red where severe thunderstorms are likely. When severe thunderstorms are underway, there is one of 2 possibilities. For state capitals and the densely populated eastern seaboard between Kiama and Nelson Bay, a detailed severe thunderstorm warning will be issued. These show the warning area in yellow, with storms as red dots and future movements using red lines, and threat areas using an orange overlay. In serious situations when a storm is producing giant hail, destructive winds, intense rainfall, or tornadoes, a text box will be attached to the appropriate storm that states this thunderstorm is very dangerous. The second option is a generalized severe thunderstorm warning. This is the maximum warning that the rest of the country will receive. These warnings show no storms. Rather, they only show the region that is affected in general. Even in serious situations where supercells are producing previously mentioned conditions, the warning will not show storms. Rather, a smaller outline of the rough area the storm is in will be shown. To access these warnings, you either need to be following the Bureau of Meteorology on Facebook, have access to the warnings page on their website, or have the BOM app downloaded so that you get push notifications whenever there is a warning. Many apps, such as Hazards Near Me New South Wales, also send push notifications when a warning is issued inside of your watch zone. The primary issue with this app is that visitors from interstate and abroad are unlikely to install a state-specific app, and thus won't receive warnings. When a tornado warning is issued, it is released as part of a normal severe thunderstorm warning. The only major difference is text added near the top of the warning stating, "This includes a tornado warning." To my knowledge, this does activate emergency alerts onto news stations that then warns the public, but I only know of one instance where this occurred. An example of a tornado warning being issued with a detailed severe thunderstorm warning could be the tornado that hit Cornell in the morning hours of December 15th, 2015, whilst an example of a generalised tornado warning could be the one issued after 3 tornadoes were spawned from a supercell near Young and West Wyalong, with the 4th one unconfirmed near Cowra in 2025. Firstly, there needs to be a fix to Australia's attitude towards tornadoes. A very large amount of Australians still are unaware that tornadoes occur here, although this is becoming less of an issue as more media attention is drawn towards them. Further, the Bureau of Meteorology needs to stop holding back on the use of the term tornado. If forecasts and soundings support tornado genesis, state it. Don't just say there is a chance of severe thunderstorms later, say it how it is. Next, the Bureau of Meteorology needs to be more liberal with warnings. This does not mean warning storms that don't deserve it, but warning all storms that show a strong chance of dropping a tornado on radar. For example, 15th of January 2026, this storm absolutely should have been warned. A supercell with a hook echo, inflow notch, and potentially a debris ball, or what could have been a hail-filled hook, about 20 kilometers south of Cooma, a town of 6,000 people, and about 5 kilometers north of Nimitabel, a town of a few hundred. Again, 24th of November 2025, a supercell with a very notable velocity couplet, which later went on to have a very notable debris ball. Two incredibly blindingly obvious signs of a tornado, yet no tornado warning was issued for this storm. Two other unwarned tornadoes occurred this day. This storm produced a very strong tornado with a 10-kilometer long and violent scar across the forest, which would have devastated homes had it landed just a few kilometers north or south. Would you rather not warn a storm and have a tornado do serious damage, or warn and have nothing happen? I also believe that tornado watches should be issued over areas with a conducive environment for tornadoes before storms even pop up, allowing for a heads up, stay alert type warning to those in the area. Next, I firmly believe that more radar sites are needed, and those already existing need upgrades. Areas such as Central West and East Victoria and Central New South Wales have fairly sizable radar blank spots, despite having reasonable populations. This leaves them far more susceptible to being impacted by severe weather that quite literally slips under the radar. Keep in mind, however, I am not at all calling for radars in the middle of the desert. The risk of severe weather and low population of the true outback means that it is not worth more than it costs to install radars for these areas. Furthermore, radars in areas very prone to tornadoes such as around Brisbane, southeast Queensland from Coolangatta up to Gladstone, then inland to Roma and south to the New South Wales border, northeastern New South Wales, southern tablelands around Cooma, New South Wales, to central west around Bathurst/West Wyalong, as well as every radar around a state capital or major city should be upgraded to include storm relative velocity, as this makes identifying rotation and potential tornadoes far easier by removing the forward motion of the storm, showing winds as if the storm was sat still, as well as correlation coefficient, which shows debris or any object that shouldn't be in the sky on radar. The installation of more weather stations that record temperature, wind gusts, rain, humidity, etc. across the country would also be very beneficial for a multitude of reasons. Thirdly, the storm warning system also needs a major revamp. At bare minimum, supercells or very dangerous thunderstorms should be shown in a detailed severe thunderstorm warning, regardless of whether it is in a metropolitan area or not. Push notifications should be sent to all phones geolocated to be within this very dangerous thunderstorm warning in order to warn the public effectively and safely. In an ideal world, we would take heavy inspiration from the USA, making our radar similar to the USA and overlaying warnings onto the radar. And please, revert to the old radar. The smooth radar is way less functional and also very ugly. I'm still in absolute shock this website costs $90 million. Now to some more quality of life fixes. Make more data available in the SKU-T graphs and let the public be able to see this data as well as photographs. Currently the ones available to the public look like this, when they could look like this. This helps hobbyists decide where to storm chase, who in turn may be able to report any tornadoes they see straight to the Bureau of Meteorology. Further, seeing tornadoes getting proper assessment and rating would be very nice, although it is not necessarily needed. A very interesting example of a country with close to the opposite approach of Australia to tornadoes would be Japan. Japan receives a modest 20 to 25 tornadoes a year via estimates by the Japan Meteorological Agency compared to the 50 to 80 estimated for Australia by the Bureau of Meteorology, of which usually only 10 to 20 are documented. Despite the seemingly low threat of tornadoes, the Japan Meteorological Agency routinely issues things such as tornado advisories and watches when conditions are favourable. Even though very few tornadoes are actually confirmed per year in Japan, the JMA is not afraid to acknowledge their existence and effectively warn them to help keep their population as safe as possible. Whilst their process of actually warning tornadoes isn't ideal, it's a good stepping stone on the way to fixing our system. Now we have the fixes, let's have a look at the issues with them. Our first major hurdle is funding. Radars are very expensive, so to upgrade radar sites and build new ones, it would cost upwards of $100 million if the Bureau of Meteorology goes all out, although it would likely be closer to $50 million. Still, somehow, this is considerably cheaper than the $90 million spent on their new website, which, just so everyone knows, isn't only a waste of money to fix something that wasn't broken, but isn't even finished. Many buttons still take you back to the old website. Anyways, Australia's attitude towards tornadoes is one thing that won't fix overnight. If we're able to remember the Kuma supercell from the 15th, I posted this screenshot into a fairly large weather group on Facebook, saying along the lines of, "This storm has no tornado warning, is exhibiting many signs of producing a tornado, hook, debris ball, inflow notch, etc. Please be aware and stay safe." And I immediately got hit with many people saying things along the lines of, taking a play out of Hollywood Higgins' book, and may as well forecast snow for Brisbane. My post was then taken down by the moderators of the group with no explanation. In a weather group, ridiculed and censored for talking about the weather. This is the kind of dedication that the tornadoes don't happen cause that only a significant tornado through a metro area or major reforms to the official forecasting and warning system will fix, and I think all of us know which one we would prefer. In conclusion, I've provided clear evidence that Australia is far from immune to tornadoes, has a very subpar warning system for them, and is at risk of a multi-casualty event in the future if nothing is done to upgrade the warning system. Despite the potential funding and attitude issues, I still firmly believe that something should and can be done. To the Bureau of Meteorology, please take my considerations seriously. I understand I'm just a kid on the internet, but I truly believe that something should be done, and I'm sure at least a few of you believe so too. Thank you for listening.